Today we are looking at overtime pay. Now, overtime pay is when you work outside of your regular hours per week. When you do that, you're entitled to what we call a penalty rate. Penalty rates come in the form of time and a half, which means you earn 1.5 times your regular amount, or double time, which means that you earn double what you normally would. You usually get this sort of money when you work in unfavourable times, like weekends, Sundays, or nights. Let's go through with the questions. Gustavo is paid $15.78 per hour in his job as a childcare worker. Calculate Gustavo's hourly rate when he's being paid for overtime at time and a half. So to find Gustavo's time and a half rate, we list his regular hourly rate and we multiply it by his overtime rate, which is time and a half. Time and a half is 1.5, and I've changed that to a decimal. So Gustavo earns $23.67 for every hour that he does overtime. Adrian works as a shop assistant and his normal rate of pay is $12.84 per hour. Calculate the amount that Adrian earns for 6 hours of work on a Saturday when he is paid time and a half. So to find Adrian's time and a half rate, we write down his regular hourly rate. We multiply it by time and a half, which is 1.5, and we multiply that solution by 6. And the reason we do that is because he in fact worked 6 hours overtime. So Adrian earned $115.56 for working 6 hours overtime. Natasha works as a waitress and is paid $14.80 per hour for a 38-hour week. Calculate Natasha's pay in a week during which she works 5 hours at time and a half, in addition to her regular hours. So let's start with Natasha's normal pay. So her normal hourly rate is $14.80 and she works a 38-hour week. So normally Natasha would earn $562.40. She also gets time and a half for overtime. Her hourly rate is $14.80. She works time and a half for 5 hours. So she gets an additional $111. So to find Natasha's total pay, we would get her regular pay combined with her time and a half pay. So Natasha earns $673.40 all up. Graham is employed as a car assembly worker and is paid $20.40 per hour for a 36-hour week. If Graham works overtime, the first 6 hours are paid at time and a half and the remainder is paid at double time. Calculate Graham's pay in a week during which he works 45 hours. So we've got to figure out firstly, how much extra is Graham working? So he works 45 hours and he should be working 36 in a normal week. So he's actually doing 9 hours overtime. What that means is his time and a half, as said previous, 6 hours of that 9 go to time and a half. And the additional 3 hours left over are double time. So let's go through his pay. So his normal pay, he earns $20.40 and he works a 36-hour week. Graham earns $734.40 normally. He is then entitled to 6 hours at time and a half. We use his hourly rate times by the overtime rate times by how many hours he works at that rate, which is $183.60. But we can't forget the double time rate. $20.40 regularly, double time rate, hence the 2, and he works 3 hours for that rate. So he gets an extra $122.40. So to find how much Graham earns total, we would add his regular pay, his time and a half pay, and his double time pay. So for that week, Graham in fact earns $1,040.40. So from going through these solutions, there is a formula. To find your overtime pay, we have to use your hourly rate times by the overtime rate times by the hours worked at that rate. So the formula for overtime pay is our hourly rate times the overtime rate, time and a half, double time, times by the hours worked. And that is how you calculate overtime pay.